Now it's time for my least favorite part, touching raw meat. Let me wash my hands. Hello homemakers, I'm Melinda and I'm cooking my way through Betty Crocker's 1971 recipe card library. And today we're making oven porcupines. Oven porcupines are from section C, budget casseroles, and it's card number 30. And basically they're like little meatballs in tomato sauce, but they have rice in the meatballs, and I guess the rice sticks out like a porcupine's quill. I just thought that was so cute, right? Porcupines. I'm excited for this dish because it reminds me a lot of something that my family makes frequently, which is cabbage rolls. It's pretty much exactly the ingredients for a cabbage roll without the cabbage. Like, it's the rice and the meat and onion in a ball with the tomato sauce. It's just, so I'm excited to see what cabbage rolls taste like without cabbage. That's what this dish is. But I just think it'll be kind of cute and cozy and delicious. So let's get started. For oven porcupines, we will need a pound of ground beef, a half cup of uncooked rice. I have extra long grain, which will be good for our porcupine quills. Water, chopped onion, regular salt and celery salt, garlic powder, pepper, tomato sauce, more water, and Worcestershire sauce. So pretty simple, not that many ingredients, not that big of amount of ingredients, but I think that's because it's in the budget casserole section. We're trying to keep costs down, so let's get started. So our oven is preheating to 350, and we're gonna start by mixing the meat and the ingredients together. So I have a pound of ground beef, I got from my local butcher, Prospect Butcher Co. A pound of ground beef doesn't seem like a lot, but this makes 4 to 6 servings. Well, I don't know. So yeah, we have a pound of ground beef. We have a quarter cup of chopped onion. I try to chop it as finely as possible because you don't want like a big chunk of onion when you're eating. And then we need a half a cup of uncooked rice. Now the one thing that's different about this recipe versus cabbage rolls is that my grandma taught me to like parboil the rice a little bit, because otherwise the time it takes to bake the cabbage and the meat might not be long enough to get the rice cooked. So you might have like too much of a bite to the rice if you don't like parboil it. So she just like kind of puts the rice in the water in a pan, brings it up to a boil for 2 to 3 minutes, shuts it off, drains the water out, and that's how you put the rice in the meat and the onion. But I'm following Betty Crocker this time, so I'm just putting it in raw, uncooked, unrinsed. Okay, now we need a teaspoon of regular salt, half a teaspoon of celery salt. Finally got my hands on some celery salt. Betty's been requesting this in many cards. I could never find it. I had to use celery seed and regular salt. I've done that twice now. And then finally, at the grocery store, it appeared. Celery salt. 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then pepper. 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. I'm just gonna crank some. 1/8 of a teaspoon. Oh. Let me get all this out of the way. Now it's time for my least favorite part, touching raw meat. Let me wash my hands. This is really the only way to get it nice and combined, is to just mix it with your hands, unfortunately. We don't add all of these spices when we do cabbage rolls. We just have salt and pepper, so that feels pretty well combined to me, right? So now I think she says a heaping tablespoonful per ball, and you're supposed to get 12 balls total. Oh no, am I supposed to grease this baking sheet? Ungreased baking dish. Whew, I'm glad I checked. So 12 balls. I guess I'll just start trying to make balls and see how many I get. This is about the size I'd make a cabbage roll ball. I make small cabbage rolls, but my grandma makes like massive ones. They're like this big. They're like twice the size. But I like little babies. My assumption is as the meat cooks down, it kind of shrinks and the rice pokes out more. And that's why it's called porcupine. Because I'm not seeing a lot of poking out right now. So when my family makes cabbage rolls, they'll like get together and make like a huge like roasting pans full of them. Dozens and dozens and dozens of cabbage rolls. And my mom was saying that if they run out of cabbage, then they just make balls of meat like this and bake it in the pan with the cabbage rolls, and they called those porcupines. So maybe that's kind of where Betty was inspired for this recipe, is that like maybe this is kind of part of the cabbage roll family. But this is cheaper because you don't have to buy the cabbage and it's a budget casserole. I don't know. Okay, how many did I end up getting here? 2, 3, 4. Wait. I don't know how to get 12. I got 12. They just fit in this pan weird. I'm gonna get cleaned up and then we're gonna make the sauce. Okay, so now we're just gonna make this sauce, which is just a can of tomato sauce, basically. Why is it so hard? Did I get bits of shrapnel in here from my attempts? Then we have half a cup of water, right? I was supposed to put half a cup of water in the meat mixture. We didn't do that when we make cabbage rolls. I called for a half cup earlier, and now I need a full cup for here. Ugh, no one told me. You guys were watching, you didn't even tell me that I forgot the water. Ugh. There's gonna be so much liquid from the sauce though, right? Like the rice is just gonna soak up this water, right? I shouldn't put more water in this, should I? Should I put another half cup in here? That'll solve the problem. 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire. Pour over meatballs. So I'm just gonna pour this over. See what happens. See, it's a lot of sauce now. But I think it'll soak up some of the sauce, right? We're gonna cover with aluminum foil and bake for 45 minutes. All right, so it's been 45 minutes. So we're supposed to take the tin foil off and then do another 15 uncovered. But I just wanted to check it and see how it's doing in there. Ooh, it's very wet. I guess now's the time we'll give it, 15 minutes. They've kind of been poaching in this liquid, and now the liquid I think is going to reduce a lot and thicken up now that it's uncovered. So we'll put this back in the oven and we'll see what happens. All right, our oven porcupines are out of the oven and ready to taste. I'm a little disappointed by the fact that I panicked and added more water to the sauce, because it just in the end made it way saucier than like it looks in the photo. I also realized that the photo has 16 porcupines, not 12, because I can't do math. So it's like shocking to me how I could only make 12. Like, should I make them smaller? What did I do wrong? They did shrink. As you can see, they're not as tight in the casserole dish as they were before. But I guess I'm just gonna pop one out and taste it. It does look, as described, kind of like a porcupine. The sauce is kind of hiding it, but you do get the little points of rice coming out of the ball, which is nice. Let me take a bite. Yeah, unfortunately the rice is a little dry. It's not fully cooked rice. And that's probably because I forgot the water in the meat. So the rice tried to soak up as much water as it could from the meat, but it's a little dry. But overall, it does taste like I pictured it would, similar to cabbage roll interior. Otherwise, I mean, the tomato sauce is tasty, the meat's tasty. I like the addition of the Worcestershire in the sauce. Yeah, I just wish the rice was more cooked. Oh. All right, oven porcupines. I'm so disappointed that the rice didn't cook, because this is something that I know my family has struggled with in a similar dish, and we came to a solution, and I don't know whether or not Betty Crocker's recipe as written would have worked or not. If I had added that half cup of water when I was supposed to, would I have just knocked us out of the park, delicious meal, or would it still have not been cooked enough? I don't know. And so it's really hard to give this recipe a rating. Otherwise, like, I love the flavor. Was super easy to make, which you can kind of just like scrape together with some stuff from the pantry. So I think it is like a really nice idea for a weeknight meal. I could see you like get like a loaf of crusty bread to dip in the tomato sauce and a nice side salad. Like, this would be an excellent meal. And so I feel like it was gonna be a good recipe card if I didn't mess up. But who's to say? Who's to say that it would have gone perfect or I would have still had uncooked rice? I don't know. So it's really hard to give a rating for this one, but if I had to, I guess I would give it 4 out of 5 red spoons. All right, back in the box. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to... Okay, update. After I was done filming, I took all of the porcupines and I cut them all in half and I put them in a skillet. I added water to the sauce, so it was really loose and saucy. And I let it simmer covered on the stovetop for like 10 minutes and it worked. All that like extra juice and this lid allowed like the rice to steam, and by like breaking them in half, I was able to get more surface area where the rice was exposed. And now the sauce got like super thick and glossy and bubbly and gooey, and I think that was like the rice starch kind of coming out of the rice allowed the sauce to get really thick, and all the rice is more tender now. I mean, my little porcupine balls are not as big because I had to like cut them all in half, but I think it really helped, and now I have like a fully done meal. Yeah, that's a lot better. So I think if I would have followed the recipe correctly, it would have tasted good. I think I just made a few errors along the way, but we made it work. So good. Oh, so good. I revised everything. It's 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. I made an error, but I fixed it. Alright, now, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Happy homemaking. Play the credits.